Hi, this is Terry Bach, and I'm the host of the Rewrite Your Money Story series. I have noticed in talking with a lot of people about money that what typically comes up is how often couples fight about it. And couples often have different money styles, and so it's really hard for them to negotiate those differences. And sometimes, although they seem to be fighting about money, the issue behind it isn't really about money at all. So I have brought together some amazing financial relationship experts to give us their perspectives on the topic of couples fighting about money and how to help. Today I have invited Julie Renee as our expert, and Julie Renee is the #1 brain rejuvenation expert. She's mapped out the human blueprint and how to work in the quantum field for both clearing and cell rejuvenation in her groundbreaking book, Your Divine Human Blueprint. She's a mentor to the mentors and works with folks like Jack Canfield, Marcy Shimoff, actress Barbara Niven, I love her, and a host of other celebrities. She trains students in her original quantum activation trainings reaching into 64 countries. Julie's a best-selling author and has more than 150 trainings and 187 transformative meditations. Wow. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here.
And it's an honor to have you as my guest.
Thank you.
So I'd like to start out because you have a lot in your bio about the human blueprint and cell rejuvenation. And so my question is, do you do that kind of work with couples, since that's kind of what our topic is about?
Yeah, I can think about a couple that I worked with recently. She had asked that her name be not shared, so we'll make up a name, Sally and George.
Okay.
But I did brain regeneration for both of them. And I started with him first, and he was so thrilled with the results that he brought her in. It's so funny because she was the one who said, honey, you need this. And then she went along. And it's so funny because it's the same story. It's about they were having money challenges. They were fighting a lot. They had made some decisions to move into a house that wasn't renovated. They were renovating, and they moved into one that was kind of a wreck that they were renovating.
Okay.
And there was a lot of disharmony. Even though they loved each other very much, they were just not happy. Okay. And by him transforming, and then he could really be a support to her, and she was having a lot of anxiety and issues that just he wasn't able to be present to until he'd gone through the brain regeneration. He went through that, and he said, the main thing I want for her is to feel happy in her skin again and to be relaxed and moving forward. And so we did the second regeneration with her. They both came to the house, and we worked really on her, but then also on the couple's issues around how do they go through the process of, rebooting, restoring their home and their relationship at the same time. It was such a privilege and a thrill to watch. Sure. And I've gotten thank you notes, several of them from the husband saying, my wife is my wife again. I'm so happy.
Oh, so for the audience and for me, can you do kind of a quick description of what it entails to have your brain rejuvenated?
Yes. Yeah.
And also what changes did you see in this particular couple?
Okay, so first of all, we're doing a process called Cellular Neo Genesis, and it's something that I brought in from observing the blueprint and actually my own story of brain traumas. I had 2 serious brain traumas, and it's a process of first clearing. We clear maybe even 1,000 things that are blocking your brain from functioning well. So we do a clearing process using our mind, believing that we can clear it, and then a hand movement. The basic quantum pump looks like this. It's a hand movement. So we're connecting with that field of transformation. Now, we're all in the quantum field, but the field of transformation is a higher frequency field. And so this allows us to get there.
Okay.
So we're doing a clearing, and then we begin with cellular Neo Genesis. We always do a clearing first. So the decks are
Mhm.
cleared. We're going to be able to do this regeneration. And then we're
Sure.
doing 3 steps in the regeneration. The first is to activate the master and stem cells in the brain.
Okay.
Now, I apply this to all parts of the body, but we're talking about the brain right now. So
Okay.
it's master and stem cells. And then the next step, we get that to 100%. And how we're doing that is we're matching the divine human blueprint that is at 100%. A lot of times brain cells are between 10 and 20% function. They really aren't up where they could be. So we're
Okay.
getting them with this pumping action for about an hour, hour and a half. We're getting that shift. And then we're starting, we do a mirroring process to the surrounding cells. There's something I call the light of the cell. It's kind of like the spirit of the cell. It's light
Mm.
in the cell, so we mirror to the other cells. And you know about this mirroring process because it's part of being
Right.
human. I smile at you,
Sure.
and you
Smile.
smile back, and your body feels good. So it's the
Right.
same thing. We're making the cells smile at each other, and so the cells get a big uplift. But the final piece, which is the most important, once the master and stem cells are at 100%, we start a cascade of new cell growth. And that we do by, there's a little, inside the cell, there's a little caterpillar looking thing. It's the mitochondria, the fuel generator of the cell. And I kind of describe it, it's kind of silly, but I see things in cartoon images a lot of times. So I see this cute little caterpillar, and we tickle the tummy, we press on the mitochondria, and boop, out comes new cells that are at 100%. And that
Wow.
cascade of new cell growth keeps going for 180 days. So it's
Wow.
typically a 1 to 3 hour process for brain regeneration based on how much clearing we have to do and how bad the brain is. And then 180 days of new cell growth. And so people are, by the second week, their memory is really stronger. By the first day, they have a quiet mind. They feel, I can't hear anything going on in my head. It's just me. Sleep gets better, speech gets better, memory gets better. There's just a whole plethora of things. Even, it's so funny, a lot of times people don't come in and say, I have a bladder issue. We fix the brain, the bladder starts working, right? It's so funny. It's like,
Wow. Yeah.
everything,
Well,
you
sure.
can be focused, you can have your momentum. And it honestly, it's about the 10th to 12th day where we really see people really kicking in because there's enough new cells that they're
Mm.
starting to like have the drive to make the changes or shift or focus. So those
Sure.
first few days, it's kind of percolating. They feel wonderful. They're sleeping really well. And then after that, it's, sky's the limits.
Wow. How this is fascinating to me. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
Everything
fun.
starts with the brain, really.
Everything does start with the brain,
Yeah.
and how you use the brain. I think that's the other thing. We fine tune the brain, and then we go into things like the wealth and the beauty and the health aspects. Because just like if you regenerated your muscle in your arm, then you
Hmm.
had a new muscle, but you didn't exercise it,
Right.
it would be a healthy muscle. It wouldn't be like a strong muscle. It would just
Right.
have new cells. And that's the same with the brain. So we want to have the brain really refreshed. And then we want to exercise it. We want to look at new ways of being and new ways of perceiving and understanding and sharing and creating.
Okay. So you were talking about the cell rejuvenation. I'm trying to take a couple notes here. And so
Yeah,
the first is activating the master and the stem cells. Is that what?
correct.
And then there's new cell growth for approximately 180 days after that.
Right.
And
So
that,
there's three,
yeah.
there's the new cell, first there's the
The
activation, bring
yeah.
it to 100%. Then it's mirroring to the
Oh,
surrounding cell.
okay. Yeah.
And I always show an image of a mirror because that like, oh, that makes sense. That smile thing.
Exactly.
And then the third step is on the cascade of new cell growth, and that goes on for 180 days. We do a couple of things. We have meditation once a day following brain regeneration through the 180 days for half an hour. That brings them into the field of transformation. And so that's wonderful, keeps refreshing and refreshing. They're not working on the brain. They can work on love or money. Money is a great one to work on. And
So
then drinking enough water.
that makes sense. Yeah. So with this couple you were talking about, you were saying that they were working on some financial issues and that this
Yes.
process helped them with that. How would that help them?
Well, initially I was working with him, and he said, I'm a realtor and I'm down on my sales, and my wife's really upset with me, and I just am in a not a good mood. And so, of course, that's echoing out into my business. And so I'm working with him to, first of all, just clear everything out so there's no monkey mind going on, like, I can't do it,
Right.
I can't do it. And his sales like tripled. I mean, it went really
Wow.
fast. Where
Okay.
he wasn't, it was
Right.
off. That was off. And he
Okay.
knows what to do. And he just dug in and started doing. And also in that strategy where we're looking at how can you support your wife better, because that was the thing that was disturbing him, is that they had made a decision together to move into this house that needed renovation, and then he wasn't being able to, because he was really focused on bringing money in, wasn't able to work on the renovation. So how can we really make this viable, or do we need to have you just move into, and I think that that's part of strategizing. The money
Sure.
issue is, do you need to live in a small clean rental for
Right.
6 months and then have your son, or hire some help,
Mhm.
low paid help, to just finish it, just get it done. And what he
Okay.
had said is his income went way up, so he was able to start feeling safe again. He was in that safety zone. And then
Absolutely.
what they were doing is really coming together as a team. And one of the things I notice with couples is the minute you start being a team and you stop assigning blame, that you start really
Absolutely.
functioning better. Things
Yes.
start falling into place when nobody's the enemy and nobody's wrong. It just is the way it is. This is the dynamic
Exactly.
that we've created. And then creating a strategy where you're keeping yourself. Now, they were meditating every day and imagining, visualizing good happening. And what was interesting is to work with her after working with him and having him be with us. She had come with a lot of anxiety, like it had built up over a few years, and she had started just being kind of obsessive, compulsive, nervous, because it
Hmm.
had gotten to her, it just gotten into her
Sure.
core. And that just completely disappeared. That was just not an issue. The thank you notes I've got from him, long emails saying, "You gave me my wife back. I feel so much better. Thank you, thank you."
Wow.
Just like she's back to
Mhm.
her normal, happy self. I can even see in her communications with me, this has been like 2 months now, they're just like, she's got her confidence back. She's back to her.
Absolutely. It sounds like in my language, what you ended up doing in some ways is changing some of those limiting beliefs that they had about money or about each other, about themselves, and so they were able to get to that confidence. They were able to get rid of the anxiety and really get more focused.
They did. Yeah, they did. And I think the other thing is the sense of well-being. And I think that when you're going through a money issue, you don't have that sense. And we want
Right.
to get you to the
Yes.
sense of well-being, that everything is okay. And when I talk to people, I don't have it, I was going to show you, I have a Balance Your Life Now book, but I think one of the things that I really recommend is that you remember that finances are only 1/8 of the balance wheel. It's not the whole wheel. And we get so out of proportion with focused on that one little piece
Exactly.
about
Yeah.
good health and good fun and social and family and friend love time. And we forget, we just get so directed.
Exactly. Yeah. So tell me more about the balance, and the money conflict. How does that all go together?
Well, I have a little simple book. I wish I thought I put it on the, I didn't.
That's
Balance Your
okay.
Life Now book. So I'm not going to
Okay.
stop looking at that. But I have this sweet little book, Balance Your Life Now. It's it's a little guide. But really, there's 8 parts of the balance wheel. And when we look, finance is one part. And so when you put it into perspective, that's going to really help. But we have to do creative things, creative expression. We have to deal with our emotional body. Not Our emotional body is not all about money. It's about,
True.
how do you fill yourself up?
Right.
There's your career, your social life, your recreation. And you look at this balance wheel and you start looking at, where are we lacking? Because a lot of times when we're not putting attention into our creative expression or our social life or whatever it
Right.
needs to be, we start really getting out of kilter everywhere. And I promise you, if you've got half or more of your balance wheel is like taken up with finances, you are off kilter, and you need to bring it back into perspective. So, and I've seen people who are very financially successful and they're not happy. And we look on the balance wheel and it turns out they're doing nothing creative and they're not pursuing their spiritual life. And when they start just implementing, even like going to a sacred yoga class where they do a little bit of meditation, all of a sudden they start having a glow, like,
Sure.
I didn't know that that was an important missing piece. And so I think we need to really keep that whole concept of full self-expression in balance. And, one of the things that I recommend though for couples is when you're working on that financial life, you want to designate maybe just an hour a week where you sit down and you don't take the conversation into the bedroom or the dinner table.
Yeah.
Please, no financial conversations in the bedroom. Bedroom is for making love and for sleeping together. And, it's for good things.
Right.
And it's not for stress. And you have maybe 1 hour a week where you really pound out the things that need to be pounded out. Make a budget and make a plan to pay off your debts. And you leave it alone. Maybe you write something down in a note, put it in a file folder for the Saturday morning conversation or whenever that is that you do that conversation. But you keep it separate from all the other things that are happening.
So more than an hour a week approximately would be too much focus on the money piece?
It would. I mean, you might, the first time you pound it all out, you might have to do more than that to figure out what are our actual expenses and what do we actually owe. I mean, I have a little method of paying things off. You pay off the least expensive thing. Say you have a hospital bill at $69, you pay that off. And then that's no longer in the budget. And then you have something at like B of A, you've got a $200 bill. That's the next thing you pay off. You just pay it off. And you pay minimum payments on the higher things, but you don't add more onto the lower rungs. So you're paying things off. And you live a little bit more modestly, a little carefully. And then you're ending up paying off that highest, biggest bill last. And so you're devoting all the extra funds that would have gone to the low bills the following month to the next lowest bill. And so you're trying to get that paid off. And so you end up with one bill that you're paying off at the end.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've heard that approach and it makes so much sense psychologically.
Yeah, because you're getting rid of things and you're getting bigger chunks to pay, and it feels so exciting when you.
It does.
I think it's the same way with the little wrist thing. I see people, getting their steps in. People who have weight issues or are a little lethargic, they wear that thing, and I'm a goal person. I'm going to do these steps, and they do. And it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. You have these little steps, and you're doing this.
We need to have that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
I think that's so important to us to keep us motivated.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm not really going by the questions I had for you. Kind of ad-libbing a lot of this. So let me look at them for a minute. And earlier you mentioned to me a key to blessings out of troubles.
Yeah.
So how do we find and really cultivate that?
Yeah. I have always found that there is a hidden blessing, especially when we're in our lowest points and where we really have struggle. And I think it's when we feel vulnerable and we can turn around from feeling like me against the world to, okay, God, help me. I can't do this on my own. And all of a sudden, heaven and earth moves. And I think that it moves because if you can stay with your heart open and grateful and say, I need help. And all of a sudden there are resources, they're always around you. But I think the other thing to cultivate is gratitude. And even in a low point, you have things to be grateful for. You have your home or your children or your car or your job or the dearest friend, or you were raised by a wonderful mother, or the beauty of nature. There's always the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, the clothes we put on our bodies. There's an endless amount of things that we have to be grateful for. And when you start...
When you start focusing more on the gratitude, the things we are grateful for, you start seeing them more. And I think when you're in that grateful place, you're also more open.
Yeah.
So, because resources can be coming at you all the time, but if you're not open to seeing them or feeling them or accepting them, then they're not going to be helpful.
Well, they're not going to be on your radar.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it's me against the world, so you're fighting against the world, and they're just going.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So the last question I have for you is, what are some action steps that a couple can take now while they're trying to figure out their financial piece? What can they do in the meantime?
Yeah, I think we've kind of covered that. I'm going to cover it again.
A little bit, yeah.
Become a team. So, make your list of what's going to be on your budget and pay off your debts. So first of all, become a team. You no longer assigning blame.
Right.
Keep money talk out of bedroom and mealtime. So you're not talking about money ever in the bedroom. That's your sanctuary space.
Okay.
And I think creating a list of activities that are fun things that you can do together that don't have an expense or have a very low expense, and getting in action, making date nights, and having fun. So maybe it's going hiking or walking on the beach, or going to the park, or
Right.
I'm sure maybe going to the library is a fun thing too. Going to an outdoor music festival. They have all kinds of things going on all summer that are free things at the mall and at the wherever. There's all kinds of things that you can do for little or no money, and just start having fun. And being kind of in cahoots with each other, that you are going to have fun through this period. That is going to be the best summer or the best fall of your life. You're going to have a great time, and you're going to do it together as a team.
That's great. I love that. So this has been wonderful. I've really enjoyed this. I hope you have.
Oh, yeah. I've had a lot of fun. Thank you, Terry.
Yes. So, Julie, would you describe the free gift that you have for our listeners?
Sure. We have a 7-day wealth jumpstart, and it would be great to do as a couple, but you can do it at different times. It's a meditation in action program on transforming your relationship with money. It has a $300 value to it, and we're giving it as a gift. It's 7 days of lesson. You have a little lesson, and you have a meditation, and then you go out into action. We've had people in those 7 days really turn things around, get new jobs, and bring in large sums of money. One lady, she got an inheritance from an aunt that she'd only met once. It was $250,000.
Oh my gosh.
Meditation has also helped people, like a lady who hadn't worked in 10 years. She got her dream job, $60,000 part-time in New York City. She was so excited about. So there's a lot of good stuff that comes from this. It's Accelerate Wealth 7-day Jumpstart program.
Wonderful. Thank you. And for the audience, all you need to do is click on the button below this video, and it'll take you right to Julie's free gift. Julie, this was amazing. This was so fun. As I said, I love the brain stuff, and it's fun to talk to you about that. So thank you so much for being here today. And a big thank you to our listeners for being on this Rewrite Your Money Story series. So today is the last expert that we have, the grand finale. And I hope you enjoyed this event. And stay tuned, my November event. The topic is going to be around our big financial goals and why we aren't meeting them and what to do about that. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate that.